What's up, everybody? I'm Ben Smithee, Chief Strategy Officer at Relevance, and we are here at the 2015 first annual AntiSUMMIT, and I'm here with the one, the only filmmaker, TV personality, co-host, host, you name it, entrepreneur, Max Lugavere. What is your disruptive platform?
Well, right now, so my main focus is a project called Breadhead, which is a feature-length documentary of my imagining. It's a project that really looks at the impact of diet and lifestyle on brain health as a means to sort of pave a roadmap for millennials towards preventing things like Alzheimer's and dementia. My mantra has always been that nobody wants to watch the Spinach Show. So it's really all about taking these ideas and conveying them in a way that is down to earth.
How do you make something like that experiential and a shared experience to where people are really not just moved emotionally, but moved like physically, take action, do something about this? What's the process for that for you?
You know, I think whenever you're able to give your audience goosebumps, that is a pretty great physiological sign that you're affecting them. And so what I do is I try to package this message in a bouquet of emotion. And you know, obviously the story to me is very personal, but I think that's the way to make an impact. You know, like when I first started ideating over how I wanted Breadhead to sort of play out, I was trying to find like the Morgan Spurlock Super Size Me angle. Like, what could I do to myself for 30 days to show that like one diet works better for my cognition?
Tim Ferriss self-body hacking.
Yeah, which I would consider myself in that camp.
Yeah.
You know, I definitely love self-experimentation in that sense, but people really started listening to me when I started just kind of talking about why it was that this topic was so important to me.
Give me a little bit about that, actually. Give me the backstory, the behind the scenes.
So when I left Current TV to, you know, venture out, to create my own content, to discover new lands, one of my first projects was creating Tribeca's first ever original series, Acting Disruptive, which was a web series that I created. But it was around that time, in my personal life, I started noticing signs of cognitive decline in my mom. That was a very traumatic time, as it would be for anybody.
Yeah, sure.
After that initial trauma subsided, I started to dig into the research to figure out ways that, you know, to try to understand why a woman at 59 who was health conscious her whole life, who had access to healthy food, she grew up in Manhattan, could have suddenly started showing signs of cognitive decline. And it sent me down the rabbit hole. And so what I realized is that these sorts of changes that ultimately will express themselves as memory loss begin in the brain like 30 years before the first symptom. And you know, you subtract 30 from 59, that's 29. I was 29 when like this all started happening to my mom. So it was a real call to action. Awareness wasn't enough for me. It was like, how do I act? How do I internalize this science in a way that optimizes my own brain health so that I'll never have to deal with anything like cognitive dysfunction, because I'm a really creative person, you know? Like my mind is what pays my bills, you know?
Yeah.
So
Human capital.
Human capital. And as you know, millennials are a generation, we've invested more in human capital than any previous generation.
Yeah.
So the idea of like losing our cognitive, you know, function, to me is something that like millennials shouldn't stand for,
Right.
aren't gonna stand for. And so that's what my call to action really was. Continuing to spread the message that food is information. You know, that with our food, we're actually like turning on and turning off various genes. We're interacting with our own software by way of the choices that we make at the kitchen table. You know, everything that we see around us are really manifestations of our own mind, right? Like this chair is something that somebody invented.
Right.
Obviously somebody designed. But in a sense, this chair is designing us back, altering my posture in a way that is making me feel more confident in the things that I'm saying. It could do the opposite. It could make me feel less trustworthy of the things that I'm saying. We could take that even a step further. The things that you eat, crosstalk with the bacteria, the universe of microorganisms that live in your gut. You know, your gut produces 90% of the serotonin in your body. Serotonin is a neurotransmitter that has tremendous, you know, agency over your mood at any given time. The idea that there are invisible organisms living in your gut, controlling your happiness, you know, like spreading that message, you know, awakening people to the wonder that is their own biology. I mean, that's what I want. That's how I feel like I can really get my message in there and have it resonate, you know?
Absolutely. Well, thanks, man. Thanks for being here. Thanks
Dude,
for being
thank you so
such a
much.
great part of the experience and taking the time to sit down with us today.
Yeah, dude, thank you so much, Ben.
All right, you guys heard it here first at the 2015 Relevance AntiSUMMIT. We will see you next year.